Welcome back to another episode of Making a Difference here on Buzz TV. I'm your host, Wayne Veldsman. Each week on Making a Difference, we bring you change-making entrepreneurs and nonprofit leaders talking all about the difference that they're working to make in this world. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you Ms. Cassie Lee, the CEO of Sound Future, coming to us from Denver, Colorado. Cassie, how are you?
Oh, I'm great, thanks. So appreciate the opportunity to chat with you today, Wayne.
Yeah, it's always great having change makers like yourself come on and share their story. So why don't you just kick us off? Tell us a little bit about Sound Future.
Oh, absolutely. So Sound Future is a nonprofit that is headquartered here in Denver, Colorado. Our whole vision is a world where gathering does good. And so I think we all experience the separation that we had during the pandemic, and we weren't able to gather and we weren't able to come together. And I think as we started to come back and get together with concerts and other live events, professional sports, and we started to see that it does so much for our collective culture, our collective memory. And so inspired by that, we started to take a look at how that might connect with our climate innovation community. And so we feel like at Sound Future that the climate innovation community has largely ignored live events as a potential sector for really drawing forward and leveraging their cultural influence to help make a difference and bring forward solutions, help folks that already have these public-facing platforms, use those platforms to communicate their climate values, and then also move into actual change. So driving climate action through all kinds of different avenues. So that's what Sound Future is really starting to approach from right here in Colorado.
That's so exciting. What a great place to do it from. If people aren't aware, Denver has so many events always going on, right? So what a great hub. And I love your motto there, a world where gathering does good. So was this inspired during COVID? Had you already had the idea of going this direction? How did the business start?
Oh, that's a great question and a kind of a crazy story. So my background is actually in aerospace engineering. My two co-founders, one is a Emmy-nominated storyteller through social justice film. And then the third is an entrepreneur and the wife of a touring musician. And so, as we started to come back after COVID, my co-founder, Brandy Schultz, and I went to a climate conference together in Iceland. And it was a really important conference that was really sector-driven, but really focused on our changing Arctic. And it was a very high level, heads of state, ministers, both sides of the aisle from the U.S. Congress, and also representatives from the White House, all coming together to talk about the importance and the need for science and data-driven solutions around climate change that's happening in the Arctic. There are also Indigenous voices that were represented and environmentalists. And so we walked out of that first day of that conference, and we were sort of shocked that there was nobody outside. It was open to the public. You could have purchased a ticket and come in, or just been there to be a part of the conversation. And there's no media, there was nobody picketing, there was nobody really engaged in using their voice to express their climate values. And so, Brandy, as a experience in touring with musicians, kind of offhand said, a cool musician had played like 3 or 4 songs here, all of a sudden this would be the coolest ticket in town, right? You'd have the media, you'd have social media, you'd have people engaged and showing up, drawn in by that, live event opportunity, but also then, engaging in the content and using their voice. So that's what really inspired Sound Future.
Wow, that's wonderful, right? That you saw this amazing event or initiative really going on that could have been made just that much better. Right. Mm-hmm. And so are you all helping to host events? I notice you're doing a study right now as well around events. What are sort of the services that you might be able to help individuals with that are listening right now?
Oh, great. Yeah. So, we're not the first people to have this idea. So when we came back from that conference, we were really inspired by the folks who were already in this space. And so we engaged in what you could consider a gap analysis to see, where existing efforts were and maybe where they, what those needs might be driving towards. So we came up with 3 solutions that we're focused on here at Sound Future. So first is the concept of building a community, and that community just empowers folks that already have a cultural platform. So athletes, artists, musicians, to use their voice to, communicate about their climate values, and by providing them science and data-driven talking points, and also, being receptive to the things that they're really passionate about, and having that inform some of the research that we do. The second thing that we do is research. And so we are looking for best practices in live event pain points. So things like merchandise, transportation, single-use plastics, and trying to find best of breed solutions that exist today, and then engage with the climate innovation community to call for change, to say, here's the best opportunities that we have, bring in your innovation. You might not have thought of live events as a market, and really just break down that barrier to entry and generate a new market for us to drive climate innovation. And then the third is curating unique experiences. So finding ways that we can go and test some of these things, engage with the live event community to really start pushing the needle forward and taking some risks.
Wow, that's great. I love how you have these 3 pillars that work together and are making a huge difference all together, right? Building that community. Sounds like you're using a lot of, I like to use the word sort of like influence leaders, essentially, right? Building that community, research, and then of course, overarching sort of a curating change and experiences, right? That's absolutely wonderful. Cassie, we're basically out of time, but if you had like one tip that you could maybe give to people on how to have a better, more meaningful event, do you have maybe like a single bullet point for us?
Yeah, I think it's this idea about trying new things and taking risk. Climate innovation can take the form of technology, or it can take the form of operation. There's great folks that you can connect with to try new things and start to normalize better, more climate conscious behavior in live events. And I think it can lead to
Beautiful.
better business and a better fan experience.
Try new things, take risks. Well, hey, thank you so much for being here today. We're all out of time, but we greatly appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise.
Thank you.
Yeah, our pleasure. And thank you everybody else for tuning in and listening today. If you want to learn more about everything that's going on over there at Sound Future, visit us on iwantabuzz.com. Until next time, you've been listening to Making a Difference.